top 10 mysteries of the world will probably never solve. It's indisputable, Wonderslist is one of the most educative sites in the deep sea of internet, where miseries, entertainment, technology and pop culture are all broken down into one go for our readers across the 7 continents. In our previous lists, we've covered interesting topics such as top 10 unsolved mysteries of the world, and top 10 mysterious people on Earth, to mention few. Since it's been a while, I thought it fit to step onto the table and venture into the realm of the macabre to bring our readers another set of top 10 mysteries of the world we'll probably never solve. 1. The mysterious meltwater hole. Man's quest for knowledge, oil and precious gems has led to massive holes being dug with millions of tons of soil being moved. We've all heard of the Kimberley Hole in South Africa, the Wood Indian Well in the UK and the Koala Super Deep Hole in Siberia. Though the sheer depths of those holes will most likely instill fear in men with nerves of steel, they're a child's play compared to the creepy, mysterious and off-the-mark meltwater hole. Located somewhere in the Washington wilds, lays a gigantic 9-feet diameter hole that takes its place as one of the most mysterious crevices in the planet, as its origin is unknown and even its depth is shrouded in mystery. The legend behind this creepy cavern dates back to 1800s and beyond, when the local residents used it as an ideal dumping ground for garbage and dead animals with the hope of filling it up, but despite centuries of use, the hole maintained its fierce reputation of galloping all the junks pumped into its belly with no sign of filling up. The hole remained a local legend until a new owner, Meltwater, settled into his new property and didn't take long to notice the peculiar properties of the mysterious tavern. Mel noted despite throwing in heavy TV tubes, carcasses and dead refrigerators, no one ever heard them hit the bottom and echoes never returned. Not one to back down, Mel embarked on a quest to determine the depth of the hollow. After lowering several items including a 1-pound standard fish lead on 18 of 5,000 feet reels, to his dismay remained suspended. Spooked, Mel theorized it stepped to about 80,000 feet, but more peculiar traits lay in store. A few days later, he noted birds avoiding the void and even his dogs were filled with fright and terror as he pulled them closer to the hole. Alarmed by these strange properties, he contacted a renowned radio show host, Art Bell, in his Paranormal Coast to Coast program, and within weeks of going public, unknown government agents pounced, evicted him from his property and subsequently sealed off the area. His name, along with the land records, vanished soon after. Despite government denial of such a hole, in 2008, an old tribal medicine man claimed to have visited the hole as a boy in 1961. 2. The missing Britain soldiers. We've all heard tales of men, women and children who have vanished without a trace, some to escape appealing debts, court orders, or just to start over again in a new location under an alias. With these exemptions, there are disappearances that baffle, intrigue and downright bizarre from the start. They are the creepy ones that capture our attention and elicit the deepest fear. Though it's quite normal for one to go missing, a whole battalion of heavily armed soldiers vanishing into thin air in the middle of a raging battle is bound to raise questions. Well, one such disappearance occurred on August 12, 1915, but their absurd story begins in 1908 when King Edward VII of Britain tasked his land agent Frank Beck to form a battalion of volunteers from the Sandringham Palace workforce. Glad of such an opportunity, he enlisted hundreds of volunteers itching for a fight into the private army, with close kin taking noble roles and Sir Horace Proctor Beauchamp as their commanding officer. After training, the newly formed D Company embarked on their first yet last campaign that had been a disaster in the making right from the onset. After landing at Suvla Bay, the tired, thirsty and undertrained regiment was immediately deployed and war began in earnest. Their counterpart, battle-hardened, well-stocked and terrain-familiar Turks. In the course of the mayhem, the leading 16 officers and 250 gallantry men had vanished into the thin air. After the bitter war, Britain demanded the Turkish government hand over the POW. Turkey promptly replied they were holding no prisoner. The fate of the missing battalion only came to light after 3 soldiers confessed to have seen the battalion marching into a low-lying cloud before it slowly lifted up and joined the rest in the sky. Their fate is unknown. 3. The mysterious death of Lord Rossmore. This list would have been incomplete minus the strange and horrifying tale of Robert Cunningham, the 1st Baron Rossmore, on August 6, 1801. As a native of Scotland, he moved to Ireland as a teen, and being a determined man, he swiftly rose through the ranks of his brigade and therefore unsurprisingly got appointed the Commander-in-Chief of Ireland, a prestigious position he held for 3 years before retiring. As a retired general and highly revered citizen in Ireland's higher circles, he spent most of his time visiting friends, receiving visitors alongside partying, but the worst was yet to come. In the closing hours of 5th of August 1801, Lady Barrington, his pal's wife, stumbled across him along the Dublin Castle and, being a light-humoured longtime family friends, invited the Barringtons over for a party on the next day, which was not to be. At round 2 in the morning, Sir Barrington woke up to a soft, horrifying sound that filled him with dread. The sound, somewhere between a voice and music, grew louder and seemed to be coming from everywhere at once. Horrified, he woke his wife, who also heard the sound. Alarmed, the shocked duo headed to their window to check out its origin. After unsuccessfully gazing into the hazy darkness, they finally located the source, an empty patch of grass just below the window. The panicking Barringtons quickly called in a maid, who was more terrified than the hosts. After weeping close to half an hour, a heavy deep sigh was heard with distinctive call, "Rossmore! Rossmore! Rossmore!" Totally paralyzed with fear, the terrified maid fled the room, and then, silence. In the morning, they were notified of his death. At exactly 2:30 a.m., Rossmore's servant had gone to check out on his master after hearing commotion in his room and found him dying. Though the origin of the creepy sound was plausibly attributed to a banshee, it has never been explained, and it's still up for debate. 4. Who are these men in black? We've all heard tales of men and women who have alleged to have been contacted, harassed, or even threatened by the proverbial man in black, MIB. For the lucky ones, these creepy and out-of-place men come clad in full business-minded attire, black suits, white shirts and black ties, occasionally cladding fedora hats that resonate an aura of fear and danger, topped up with no-nonsense face and intimidating looks. According to witnesses, these mysterious stalkers showed up on their doorsteps, offices, or even parties unannounced after they alleged to have seen a suspicious flying object, UFOs. Once their target has been spotted, they close in, identify themselves as government agents, and strictly warn their frightened victims against speaking out before vanishing as mysteriously as they came. Keen onlookers have often described them as men with frighteningly similar looks, identical heights, extremely pale skin, and no facial hair. Even more bizarre, they never blink, alongside the unexplained fear that engulfs one immediately when approached. Owing to their secretive and elusive nature, nothing is known of these elite visitors, as even the most intelligent of all secretive agencies have been reduced to amateurs. Though one of the earliest recorded contacts was in 1947 by a man named Harold Dahl, UFOs enthusiastic Albert K. Bengler and the reputable USA Dr. Herbert have all fallen afoul of these mysterious agents. Despite extensive investigations by several police agencies, the identity of those shadowy figures has never been uncovered. 5. The Wow Signal. Universe is big. It's so vast that it's more or less impossible to determine its sheer size with relative simplicity of our rudimentary 21st century, barely better than toilet paper state-of-art technology. To put this into perspective, the supervoid, the largest void of its kind ever discovered south of constellation Eridanus, is sparsely 1.8 billion light-years wide, and the giant GRB ring spans 5 billion light-years across. Arithmetic lovers know a single light-year is equivalent to 5.88 trillion miles, 9.5 trillion kilometers. From this simple logic, the sheer size of these two structures can be visualized, but when compared against the size of the entire cosmos, the supervoid and the giant GRB ring are mere pins in the stacks of hay. Owing to this immensity, a number of scientists speculate of a parallel solar system with an advanced race of aliens complete with foreign technology waiting to be discovered. Nonetheless, for those who'll probably laugh off this ludicrous concept, the wow signal will most likely give you another thought. On August 1977, Jerry Ammon, an American astronomer, made a startling find that would forever alter the course of human thinking and send scientists all over the world back to the drawing board. As a member of SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, in Ohio State University, Jerry would go down as the first man to have intercepted an alien signal. During the course of analyzing a computer printout generated by the Big Ear telescope, he noticed a series of mysterious letters indicating a signal of unknown origin. Not knowing what to make of his new find, he circled the mysterious letters and wrote "Wow." The legend was born. Closer analysis of the intercepted signal further shrouded the already deepening mystery. The extraterrestrial signal, 72 seconds long, was determined to have come from constellation Sagittarius, 17,600 light-years away. Immediately after going public, thrilled astronomers quickly scrambled their satellites towards the direction of the eerie signal with hopes of picking up the mysterious source. Though there were speculations the signals were from a classified military satellite or even reflection of an Earth-based radio signal bouncing off surface of space debris, they were subsequently discarded, and despite exhaustive search of the area, nothing has been found and the source remains a mystery. 6. The creepy disappearance of the 727. Despite living in a technically advanced world where streets, jungles and mountains can be explored live thousands of miles away from the safety of our rooms, we have been cut down to size by well-meaning incidents that rubbish our knowledge and soil our technology in a peculiar deadbeat fashion that leave bewildered civilization in their wake. We've all heard epic and blood-curdling tales of banks and diamonds heists. Chances are, you've probably never heard of the three-man team colluding to steal 92,500 pounds, 41,900 kg, Boeing 727 plane. To start off with, such a gigantic flying contraption requires fairly long runway. Owing to the staggering size, ear-splitting roar to top up with the powerful engines, you'll most likely draw attention of the town when landing a stolen Boeing in your backyard if finding a skilled pilot won't be a problem and making a runway won't be a hitch. However, humanity comes equipped with crafty devils who'll take on fate, hop into a plane, escape both civilian and army radar like before vanishing into the horizon with the spoils, never to be seen or heard from again. That was exactly what happened to a Boeing 727 on the evening hours of May 25, 2003. The grounded plane, though airworthy, had had its share of trouble. After being retired from active service by the American Airlines, the plane changed hands severally until it landed on the desk of a Miami-based aerospace sales and leasing CEO who wasted no time in pulling out the passenger seats and converted her into a tanker before being flown to Angola. For some unknown reasons, the deal fell through and remained grounded in Quatro de Fevereiro International Airport with steadily accumulating parking fee. With the debt spilling and the plane slowly falling into disrepair, Ben Charles Padilla, an American engineer, was dispatched to return her into flight-ready status, and things went bananas. After a series of the testing, the plane took to the runway without clearance, and after executing a series of erratically dangerous maneuvers with both the lights and transponder switched off, the plane took into the air and vanished. In the course of investigations, it was thought Padilla was at the controls as the remaining two were literally inexperienced in flying such a plane. To add to the otherwise puzzling puzzle, news surfaced of unidentified plane in unpaved Congo airstrips, but nothing came of it. To date, its fate is unknown. 7. The mysterious origin of Sky Quakes. Nature is stubborn. It's so problematic that with all our skills and technology, we are yet to understand it fully, and chances are more mysteries will unravel, and staying ahead of the egg-faced scientists out to disapprove nature, which often seems to have more tricks up her sleeves. Centuries before NASA was formed and computers unheard of, men were always fascinated by the mysterious elements of weather such as wind, rain and thunderstorm to mention few. Due to the technological darkness of the time, bizarre and odd theories were put in place to help settle baffling phenomena, and therefore forgiving to say God and demigods played a role in influencing weather of the day. Fast forward into 21st century, the globe is littered with all kinds of scientific and technological equipments that monitor space, snaps pictures for bored scientists, and occasionally landing in a comet after adrenaline-packed, 10-year high-speed pursuit. With such mind-blowing achievements below our belts, we're at loss to explain the Sky Quakes. For those in the dark, Sky Quakes are a series of unexplained sounds similar to thunder, cannon fire or sonic booms that usually occur in the sky. The mysterious quakes have always been described as loud thunder that occasionally produces shock waves that rattles glasses and windows, all in a cloudless sky. This strange phenomenon has been reported in several parts of the world, North and South Carolina, Oklahoma and even in the United Kingdom. With scientists on the fence, conspiracy theorists are having a field day claiming the sound to be of extraterrestrial in nature. Its origin is still unknown. 8. The Leaked Dulles Papers. This list would have been incomplete minus the creepy and downright bizarre tale of the mysterious origin of the infamous Dulles Papers. These papers reportedly leaked by a secret worker details an underground mega-laboratory jointly operated by the USA government and an alien race of the Greys. The laboratory, whose construction is thought to have begun in 1930 and extended to 60s, boasts 7 levels of highly developed complexes manned by security cameras and off-limit zones for human personnel. However, what make this complex mysterious are the nerve-wracking and grotesque human experiments of mind control, grey, human cloning, tanks full of sedated men, women and children, and atomic manipulation, to mention few, that are reportedly carried out in the deeper complexes. Located 1 kilometer beneath Dulles, New Mexico, the laboratory is connected to other minor underground bases via a network of tunnels allegedly drilled by complex nuclear-powered machines with an awesome potential of melting rocks and leaving smooth walls, eliminating the needs of heavy excavators. The existence of the complex remained under WASP until a mysterious subterranean nuclear blast shook the town in early 1960s, in which the government quickly downplayed the incident, citing a normal test. The skeptical public thought otherwise. The blast was meant to create a hollow for the humming complex. Over the years, tension built between the business-minded aliens and the lax humans, apparently tired of being bullied around, to top up with the constant threat of deadly repercussions should the strict code of silence be broken. How the final blow stuck is unknown, save for heavy gunfire and counterattack by the reptilians in 1979 that saw tens of staff killed. Some put the number as 66, and many more conspirators who were soon apprehended. The papers, apparently smuggled out of the secret facility by an unknown CIA agent, was reprinted and handed out to 5 individuals who subsequently leaked it out. Unless the USA government comes clean, we'll never know for sure. 9. The Unexplained LA Raid. We've all heard of the Pearl Harbor attack and how the U.S. Navy suffered massive annihilation in the hands of the uncompromising Japanese bombers. Enthusiasts know the U.S. were sitting ducks when the alarm went off, followed by a series of no-nonsense Imperial fleet that trained bullets, torpedoes and bombs on the docked ship, and within seconds, the serene atmosphere of the beach, punctuated with happy-go-lucky men, nude women and nestling soldiers, was transformed into a haze of activities as the surprised populations alongside equally shocked gallantry men scampered for safety with the unforgiving hands of dead in a hot, uncompromising pursuit. When the smoke finally cleared, 2,500 Americans were killed. The attack horrified the world, and soon, Uncle Sam leapt into the war equipped with 2 state-of-art bombs that sealed the fate of the assaulting nation and ushered the atomic age. However, as the world reeled in shock and Americans busy writing obituaries of the fallen comrades alongside salvaging what was left of their mighty navy, something creepy was taking place 2,550 miles away in Los Angeles. They too were under attack. In the closing hours of 24th of February 1942, 3 months after the attack, the the Los Angeles Army picked up mysterious flying objects in their radars. With the news of the attack still fresh in their minds, military men were ordered to report back to their stations and the searchlight sprung into action. The objects, thought to be Japanese warplanes, vanished from the radar approximately at midnight, only to reappear suddenly 120 miles west of Los Angeles. Blackout was issued throughout the city, and as the objects drew closer, the city suddenly erupted to sporadic gunfire, anti-aircraft guns as well as heavy artillery fire, spewing out hundreds of bullets to a seemingly indestructible objects that continued to dangle in the sky. In the thick of the bitter yet foolish scuffle to down the objects, the unlikely happened. Much to everyone's disdain, the objects flew away after taking close to 1,400 shots. Though authorities claimed it was a weather balloon, common sense says they would have long been shredded to pieces. They recanted. What exactly was up there is still unknown. 10. The Elusive Ss Baychimo. The tale behind this legendary ship is a creepy one. Launched in 1914, the SS shuttled between Alaska and British Columbia, ferrying passengers and cargo, making several stopover along the beautiful Earth Sea to trade in fur with the Inuits. However, not all went according to plan on October 1, 1931, when the winter blizzards arrived earlier than expected. With maximum speed of 10 knots, 19 kilometers per hour, the laden ship wouldn't outrun the violent freezing storm of icy water. And soon, she got stuck in pack ice. With the weather worsening, Captain John Cornwell and the crew opted to trek to a nearby town, half a mile away, for shelter. But as fate would have it, the ice periodically shifted, freeing the ship before changing its frozen watery brain and trapping her again. With the unrelenting ice showing no signs of giving up yet, the frustrated Hudson Bay Company sent an airplane to rescue the trapped crew, but the captain opted to stay behind along with 14 of the 22 crewmen in the ship. After braving a night of heavy blizzard and freezing wind, the ice had one nasty prank up its sleeves. On the dawn of 25, the ship had completely vanished. In the subsequent days, reports streamed of a drifting mysterious ship in the open seas. Though the captain and the ship company tried to search for her, all their efforts hit a dead end. She was presumed to have encountered a violent blizzard that properly sent her to its watery grave. They were wrong. She was spotted in 1969, 38 years after her disappearance, from which she vanished, never to be seen or heard from again. Her fate is unknown.